Hey everyone, I have a really short episode for you this week, but it's about a very important topic, so listen up. Um, Welcome back to Grim Talks Politics. This week we're covering a topic that a lot of people overlook, and that is what speech is actually protected constitutionally via the First Amendment. So you may be wondering what I mean by this, thinking that all speech is constitutionally protected, but that is actually false, especially living in a time where the Alien and Sedition Acts have been enacted. Did you hear that? The Alien and Sedition Acts. You might want to research those a little more on your own after we dive into this. So, the Alien and Sedition Acts have a clause that say it is illegal to publish or to speak, and I quote, false, scandalous, or malicious writings against the President, Congress, or any other part of the U.S. government. This effectively eliminates and criminalizes all dissent and criticism. So you may be thinking this sounds highly unconstitutional, and I don't disagree with you, but there has actually been a Supreme Court case about a very similar law known as the Espionage Acts. It's called Shenck v. United States. Everyone who's listening who has studied political science at some point has probably heard of this case. It's very famous. And so this case not only upheld this Espionage Act, but it established a test we call the clear and present danger test. And that test really just allowed further limitations on speech that is seen as dangerous. This was really one of the first Supreme Court cases that kind of questioned a law's constitutionality under the First Amendment, and it's very interesting. So if you haven't heard of it, you should look into it a little deeper, and it'll give you a lot more insight onto this topic. But I'm trying to keep things simple this week, so we're not going to dive into that. Where was I? Okay, so because of this Clear and Present Danger Act, the president can designate a group that he dislikes, like Antifa, as a terrorist organization, and then speech that aligns with that organization's goals can be illegal. You can be punished for that speech. And you can't get out of it because since they're designated as a terrorist organization, speech that aligns with their goals can be seen as dangerous, and that means it is constitutional for you to be punished in the eyes of the courts. This is very hard to fight, and it's just nasty to get yourself tied up in a case like this. So that leads me to just say that everyone needs to be really careful online with what they're saying, because we live in times where your words can and will be used against you in a court of law just for speaking out against the government. And I think that's very important to discuss. I think it's very important that I mention it here because I think a lot of people just don't think about this at all. And it's been something that's been on my mind, so I wanted to make sure that anyone who's listening to this also kind of gets that insight. I hope all of you stay safe on the internet and that none of you have to deal with anything like this. The government does have people that actively search for social media posts that align with like Antifa's goals, and they will punish you for them. So be really careful what you're saying online, especially on the big platforms and on public accounts. Yeah, that's really all I have for you today. I hope you all have a great week, And if you enjoy the show, please subscribe at gramtalkspolitics.substack.com.